Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to The Spectrum on WSB Stony Brook, and you just listened to the album Connector by I the Mighty, as part of our Artist Spotlight, of course. We're now joined by one of the members, Brent Walsh. How about you introduce yourself and tell the audience how I the Mighty formed, and pretty much a quick bio.
What's up? This is Brent. I sing and play guitar. A quick bio is kind of hard because we've had kind of like a long history when we were getting started. But Ian and I kind of started out as a band in high school, who then turned into a acoustic duo in college. We got signed to a label out of Berkeley, and then they got funding and decided that we weren't big enough to remain on the label. And then we got signed to another label a couple of years later, right when Chris and Blake joined the band called Talking House out in San Francisco, and spent a year recording a record called We Speak. And then it never came out because that label went bankrupt too. So we kind of learned what a fickle the music industry is pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I the Mighty, as this four-piece, has been together for 7.5 years from San Francisco, signed to EVR a few years ago, put out Carmen Never Sleeps, Satori, and Connector, and here we are.
Okay, so we're going to move on to some general questions. First one, really easy. Just what have you been listening to lately to give an idea? Because it's good to hear what artists are listening to. Because I guess artists have the best ears to what's good and what's not.
Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of different stuff lately. I just went to a Jack U concert a couple nights ago. You know who Jack U is?
I have no clue.
It's Skrillex and Diplo are doing a project together.
Oh, okay.
Just like a giant rave. It was pretty fun. So I don't know. I've been listening to some EDM just kind of consequently. I've been really into the last Deer Hunter record.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, so good. Been bumping the new Pierce the Veil single. Let's see. I've been listening to Imogen Heap a lot lately. I don't know, or Imogen Heap, I guess you say her name. Yeah, it's eclectic. Oh, and the new DGD album. I've been bumping that a lot lately too.
Yeah, definitely. So the next question I have is pretty much you just went on tour with Coheed and Cambria and Glassjaw. So I just wanted to see how was your experience, and because of all the large venues you went to, like Madison Square Garden and that place in Chicago, I forgot the name of it. Feel free to talk about anything about the tour.
I don't know, man. It was pretty incredible. I mean, they're like my favorite band of all time, and this is the second time we've gone out with them. So there was already some camaraderie, and we were already kind of buds when we got on the tour. So it was cool, just getting to know Coheed a lot better, and also half of Glassjaw. It's the rhythm section from a band called Glass Cloud that we actually used to tour with, and it's on the EVR as well. So yeah, our boys were out on that tour too. So it was kind of turned into a homie tour. Our buddy Travis did sound for us. He just kind of came out with a band called Silver Snakes, the band from LA, and he's like a homie of ours that we've toured a bunch of times with too. So it was just a really fun, awesome tour. The shows were incredible. I mean, the biggest shows we've ever played by far. Yeah, it was really fun, man. Feel very, very fortunate to have been a part of that.
Yeah, it was definitely cool seeing you guys starting back in with Karma Never Sleeps from these smaller places to now, like I said, Madison Square Garden. That's just wow. And that's in how many years? 5, 4.
How many years have we been?
Maybe I guess since the first release. I mean, since.
Oh
Karma.
yeah. I guess 4 years since Karma, right?
So it's lots of growth, and you guys are still breaking out, which is really cool.
Thanks, man.
The last general type question is, I know you attended Burning Man Festival a year and a half ago. 2 years?
Well, I went the last 3 years.
Oh, you went okay. So I wanted to see, going to this festival, what have you grown as a musician? What you learned, and because all the artists go there, so you have to like at least like something, even so like subconsciously.
Yeah, I don't know about musically. I mean, it's kind of an EDM festival, so I don't know about musically if I had too much growth, but I think it's more growth just as a individual and like as a person, and growth in kind of like my spirituality. And I drew a lot of inspiration from going. I feel like that
Mm.
I got a lot of inspiration for songwriting and just for humanity kind of out of going to that festival.
Okay, so we're going to move on to album type questions. The first question I have, I ask all the bands, what is the meaning behind the album art? And for the audience members that do not know, it's pretty much two circular optical illusions mixing together, and that's about it. uh, so pretty much, how did you pick that as to represent your album, and what does it symbolize?
Well, I wrote up a little. It's on the insert of Connector if you buy the physical copy of the CD. If you take out the little insert and you open it up, the first thing is just I can't really remember verbatim what I wrote, but it's just something about how Connector, how we're all connected through energy on the
Mm.
planet, and how music, the way our molecules react to sound, happens, you know, to
Mm.
everybody. Something that's kind of like subconscious that none of us realize is happening, but vibrations affect us all in really similar ways, and just in that respect, like how we're all connected, as individuals, as humans on planet Earth. So it was kind of like I wrote up this thing about kind of energy and stuff, and someone made that artwork for us for a T-shirt, and we were looking at it, and I was like, this would be pretty epic album artwork, and it just goes with that thing that I had just written like that day.
Mm.
Just kind of seemed like really serendipitous, but yeah. So I really like it. I think it really does like just perfectly accurately represents kind of the theme of the record.
So, talk about like with the cover arts and everything. Uh, for like the past year or so, you've been releasing canvas art pieces of each song.
Mhm.
I thought that was really interesting because I don't see like many bands doing that. So I want to know what was the process of making these paintings for each song and making them unique.
I think it started with our friend Courtney, just being a really good artist, and she had painted something for us, and we thought it would be a cool way to help her get her art out and her name out there. And she was down to do it, and she's really talented. So that's kind of how it started. We wanted to do something really limited, so we did like 60 pressings of each. And the one we actually just did one today. We released Slow Dancing Forever.
Yeah.
It sold out in 5 minutes. So it was pretty nuts. Like it's definitely grown a lot since we started doing it. And yeah, I mean, we wanted to do something limited. We thought 60 was, not crazy limited. When they're selling out in 5 minutes, that seems kind of limited. Like the next ones are going to
Yeah,
be,
that's crazy.
hopefully will go really quickly too. I think Slow Dancing Forever is also just kind of a fan favorite for the record. So I think a lot of people want.
Yeah, it's a really like unique, cool song.
Thanks.
Just story wise, I always like the story elements to songs, and I know you guys do like a whole bunch of that, definitely with the frame. Um, so to move on, this album was really experimental for you guys. You even said in the commentary album that's on Spotify, and I thought it's like, yeah, as I never heard like all these different elements in your music before. Like you said, the synths and like the guitar pedals, and it just was like really cool. So, was it more difficult of an album to make because of these extra things that you put into your music?
Um, I don't think it was more difficult. I think that was just we did want to push ourselves as musicians in the respect of like not canceling out an idea before it's kind of well thought out and experimented with. So that included like if we wanted to do something. I mean, there's some of the simplest stuff we've ever written is on Connector. Um, so we also wanted to not shy away from like if something's really simple, just by itself, and not having to try to make everything proggy or complicated, as long as it has like a groove and a good feel and melody. but yeah, it was fun messing around with synths, and I think that was one of the aspects of working with Mike Green that was cool because he's just when it came to like all those extra layers and bells and whistles, I think he's really good at that. So it was cool to work with him, have him help kind of figure out like what could be tastefully done.
One topic I want to talk about is the music video of Lying Eyes of Mr. Ray, or pretty much the general music videos you guys make. And they're really unique because you guys put so much symbolism and like metaphors in each one. And it's so hard to keep track. So I want to know, what's the process of making these type of videos to represent your song?
We always have like really big brainstorming sessions just with each other and with our manager. But usually it just comes from some sort of general idea that either one of us has or our manager has, or maybe this director that we want to work with has. Sometimes it's like an idea that we come up with and we have a bunch of different directors write us treatments of like how they would best represent that idea. And other times we kind of like leave it as more of an open letter, like, hey, we think you guys are talented. Like, here's the song. This is the meaning of the song. Like, what do you guys think would be a cool video? And just kind of go from there. It's just usually best idea wins, you know?
Yeah. So we're going to go into more song-specific questions now. In the song Lady of Death, there's a line of lyrics that say, "Have you ever seen how we color everything? Well, nobody bleeds black and white." I thought that was like a really powerful line. I want to have your take on what it means.
Let's see. I've never had to answer this exact question before. The nobody bleeds black and white line for me was just kind of goes along with the theme of Connector, where I'm talking about how we're all kind of connected through energy and humanity and stuff. It's kind of like
Yin yang.
Yeah, and just the beauty in death and all those kind of cliches, I guess.
So another song I wanted to talk about, but you said you had lots of fun with and enjoyed a lot, was Friends. You worked with Max Bemis from Say Anything. So I just wanted to know how was the experience of working on a song with one of your idols growing up.
It was really cool. Unfortunately, we didn't get to be in the actual studio together. I think that would have been an even crazier experience. But it was really cool that he wanted to be a part of the song, and we were kind of done with it, and I sent it over to him. Was like, hey, like Chris had mentioned that like it sounded like I channeled my inner Max Bemis during the bridge of the song. I was like, it'd be cool if maybe you got down on it. And he was like, yeah, send me the track. And he's like, yo, this is dope. And I already had all the parts recorded, so I was just kind of like, hey, like, these are the parts. Like, feel free to change whatever the hell you want. Like, make it your own. And he's like, all right. So he pretty much did it, like, as it was written, except instead of hitting some notes, some kind of, like, the more, like, Max Bemis-y yelly stuff that he's so good at. But, yeah, he killed it. And just really, that was really kind of a crazy thing to have him on a track, because he's, like, you know, Say Anything. And we've just been... Dude, we've been so fortunate. Like the bands that we've been able to tour with and meet, and like I honestly have toured or worked with like a lot of people that I idolized in high school and stuff. It's cool.
So the last question, song-wise, is a song for Frame Part 1 Betrayal in the Watchtower. I wanted to know, was this a really difficult song to write on the album because of all the fan expectation, it being the finale?
Yeah, that was the last thing to get written, actually. It was one of the first songs musically that I had written for the record. The music didn't really change all that much from its original, conception, but lyrically, like, I had written a part of it before we left for the studio, and then it was kind of like I wrote like 6 of the songs worth of lyrics like in the studio during the course of recording the record. And that was the one that was I just kind of kept putting off and putting off. And then finally it was like the day that we were supposed to track vocals for it. And I think it was the last song that we tracked vocals for. And I'm like still finishing the lyrics like as I'm driving in the studio. I'm like, I know what I want to say. There's just like this 3 lines. I got to nail it. Like it was, yeah. But I'm really like, I'm happy with how it came out. I think like for whatever reason, I feel like the pressure helped make the product better. But yeah, that was definitely like the most anxiety I've ever had for a song for one of our records.
So for future albums, do you feel like you're going to make like a new trilogy or a new story to kind of to follow up the frame?
I definitely want to. I have a few random ideas that I haven't spent nearly enough time with yet. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll do like another thing that spreads across albums, or maybe I'll just put a whole trilogy on like one record. Or I can almost guarantee there'll be something like that on the next record.
So that about does it with the questions. I just want to thank you for joining us and giving your viewpoints on the album and a different couple of other things. Um, can you just give the audience all the ways that they can find you social media wise or can find your music?
Yeah, I mean all the I the Mighty pages are all I the Mighty. My personal pages are Brent Walsh ITM. Uh, my Snapchat is B_LEE does it. No one's gonna get that. But yeah, all ITheMighty.com, just ITheMighty, whatever. If you're looking for ITheMighty stuff.
To the listeners, we're going to be moving on to another playlist, so stay tuned and enjoy the music.